Hey everybody, what's going on? Dr. Iceblades here again, and we're still talking about Planetary Annihilation Beta, which again just came out yesterday. And there's a lot of talk about some of the cool features, units, tactics and strategies and stuff like that, but I wanted to talk about something which I don't really see a lot of attention drawn to, which is the system editor. Now, I'm not going to describe exactly how to utilize all of its very powerful functions. Suffice to say, you can customize pretty much a lot of aspects of how your map, i.e. planets, is going to look. So this will pretty much determine a large part of your gameplay. Just like back in the day when people were making Warcraft 3 maps and hence was born Dota. I mean, you can pretty much, I don't think it's that powerful yet, but do a lot of really cool stuff with these system editors. So right now, while it's in the beta stages, people are probably wondering, well, I've got this really cool map that I made, or system, we'll call it, that's what they're called. And I don't always want to have to be hosting a game so that people can play it. How can I share this map? Well, there's no built-in feature yet, so what I've done is I've actually gone out and done some research and found out a way to actually do just that. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to where your Planetary Annihilation game was saved. In my case, since I used Steam to install it, it's going to be in my Steam folder, Steam Apps, Common, and there it is, Planetary Annihilation. So once you're in your actual Planetary Annihilation install, you're going to go to Media, User, Local Store, Local Storage, and then here it is. It's these two files, these COUI_UI_0. Now they look the same, but they are actually different file extensions or different types of files. One's a local storage file, one's a local storage journal file, which are basically just where your Java is writing to for wherever local information is being stored. So if you copy these two files and then upload them, and then somebody else copies them in the same location on their computer, they'll be able to play your systems, use whatever custom planets that you've saved, and the like. Now, as with everything when you're editing system files, I always suggest to make a backup, which I did in this case. So I made a backup folder in that folder, and then copied that current game state, so that it's all pretty much going to be in sync. So what I could do is I could download someone's files, these two, copy them into here, play their map, and then if afterwards I still wanted to restore all my old game states and maps, I would just go in my backup and recopy those two back to here. So I'm going to briefly show you the map that I created, which is a scale model of our solar system, and I'm going to put it in an upload link for a Dropbox upload link. So here it is. And I made basically a scale model of the whole solar, of our inner 4 planets of the solar system. This one's a more condensed version if you want to have shorter games, but this is a more scaled model of our solar system. So it's just the first 4 planets because obviously the big ones, the scale is just not big enough. And the relative distances for size of the planet relative to distance from the sun is off by about 10x, just because you can't go out that far. But the size of the planets relative to each other and the distances relative to the sun are all to scale, with the exception of the moon. The moon I placed actual distance relative to the size of the planets because it's going to be your primary planet and you want it to be feeling as real as possible. So let's take a look at the actual planets themselves. Alright, so now that I've given a little bit of a time to pre-render the planets, let's take a look at them. So obviously here's Mercury, which I tried to kind of make reflect its proximity to the sun, and I've also done some strategic things here. There's basically only 2 main continental landing zones with obviously all these little spires that you can build whatever kind of things you want, turrets, etc. But there's only 2 bigger spots where you might actually even be able to set up, sort of a base using K-bots and stuff like that, or I'm sorry, bots. So that's Mercury. The next planet obviously in line is Venus, which I couldn't do like a sulfur atmosphere, so I did kind of the next best thing to make a very inhospitable looking planet, which Venus is. So it's just a jagged, craggy landscape. And then obviously starting planet that I chose, Earth. And I chose this template and seed and all this kind of fun stuff and all these custom settings basically over here, because I liked the way that it came out. It's a very strategically cool looking map, and I think it will be very replayable. So you can basically do a north versus east sort of continent. So there's this one continent here, and it's connected by this tiny little isthmus here to this other large continent. And then all of the waterways around the entire planet are connected, except for that isthmus. So you can pretty much build a naval facility, and you can hit anybody anywhere. And then there's this tiny little kind of isolated strategic island here in the back. So it's got some really cool strategic elements. Now, if you want to play like solo versus some AI, there's also some other cool starting locations, like this little peninsula here you could easily bunker off. Same thing with this one. So if you want to do team maps, you have this larger portion to play, connected by this portion right here. And then obviously this larger continent connected by the same one, with this little other, like I said, strategic alternative little area over here. Kind of cool. So again, I basically kept the moon to scale. I did pretty much a rote moon, although except for this right here. I kept this crater configuration because it's kind of a good strategic location to land if you plan to land on it. Because there's 3 metals and you're actually kind of holed in from ground forces by these craters. Kind of cool. So, the final planet, the red planet, Mars. So I kind of just tried to stick with the theme of this. I couldn't build Olympus Mons, but this is the closest to Mars that I could possibly design, given the tools at hand. So that's that. And just to kind of give you an idea of why the relative views was important to me, it kind of adds this cool effect if you're actually playing on this map at length, where you can actually see the moon as it kind of would look from Earth. Maybe a little bit closer than it probably should be, but for the most part, it's pretty cool. So that's that. This is the inner solar system scale model, which again will be in the link in the Dropbox. It's 2 files, and you just follow the tutorial that I posted earlier in this video to play it. Enjoy. Thanks for watching.